My name is Pippa Jones. I'm a licensed certified social worker. I work here at Behavioural Health in Tupelo in the outpatient clinic. I work with individuals from 5 years old up to 80 years old, and I do individual family therapy, and I work in the IOP program as well. A lot of anxiety, a lot of what if questions, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of just difficulty adjusting to the new ways of dealing and coping right now. With parents, it's just, what do I do for my child? What's the best decision for my child, especially around school? Do they go to school? Do they not go to school? How much do I tell them? What do I tell them? So a lot of just questions and concerns of what is the best thing that I can do for my child. So I think there's several ways as a parent you can be a role model to your child. I think the first thing is trying to stick to the facts of COVID-19. There's a lot of misinformation and opinions out there. We get bombarded, overwhelmed with all the information. So just trying to stick to a few credible sources to get the facts of COVID-19 and then sharing them with your child. Second thing is just trying to keep to a regular routine as much as possible for yourself and for your child. When we stick to that regular routine, that creates a sense of safety and security for our children. And so we want to try and keep that regular routine as much as possible. And I know a lot of parents are going through, my regular routine is completely upside down. And so for you, it's just trying to keep a new normal, establish a new regular routine for yourself so you can still create that safety and security for your child. Another big thing for you, I think, is trying to stay in the moment as much as possible. What happens with anxiety is the uncertainty about what will happen tomorrow. Will we get to play football at school? Will we get to go to school? What if this happens? So trying for you to say, okay, well, let's just focus on right now. Let's focus on what we can control right now for yourself, but then also with your child. There's a great quote from Kung Fu Panda, and it says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. So just kind of reminding you and your child to say, hey, what can we do right now that can help us in this moment? Another way of being a role model for you right now is to, even when you feel anxious about something, about a task, completing it anyway. That only gives you confidence to complete tasks when you're feeling anxious, but then it shows your child that they can complete tasks when they're feeling anxious as well. A lot of times when we feel anxious, when we have anxiety, we tend to avoid things that give us anxiety, and that creates this avoidance cycle. We want to try not to go into that avoidance cycle. So using healthy coping mechanisms when you feel anxious and telling your child, hey, I feel anxious right now, but I'm going to take some deep breaths and I'm going to focus on just doing this thing right here. And that gives you confidence and then shows your child that they can complete tasks when feeling anxious too. So signs to look for in your child if you feel they are feeling anxious and being worried about COVID-19 is just listening to their words. What are they saying? And then checking their behavior. How are they sleeping? How's their appetite? Have you noticed any changes in those things? Are they having some separation anxiety where they don't really want to leave you? Or are they constantly wanting some reassurance that everything's going to be okay? Those are signs to say that they may be having some anxiety or worries, as well as maybe increased anger or just tears. So some mixed emotions or mixed mood there could be also some signs that they're struggling and they're worried about COVID-19. You know, what is appropriate to share with your child is also a good question, and one that gets raised a lot. And I think the first thing is just checking in and asking, what do they know? You know, obviously varying on the levels of age. So if you've got an older child, you may just want to sit down and say, hey, what are your thoughts on COVID? If you've got a younger child, maybe ask, hey, what do you know about this sickness going around? And just kind of letting them lead with the questions. Trying to be encouraging and comforting, but also be truthful and honest about what's going on. It's okay to say, yeah, there are a lot of people getting sick and a lot of people have cold and flu-like symptoms, and then people that maybe are sicker before are struggling a little bit more with this virus. But kids are often doing quite well with the virus and aren't getting as sick as adults are. So trying to create safety and making them feel safe. And then going back to, okay, well, what can we do? What can we do to stay as safe as possible? We can wash our hands. We can avoid touching our faces. We can try and keep distance from people as much as we can. But we can still try and engage in our regular routines as much as possible and as much as we're allowed to do when we're following the guidelines. So COVID fatigue, are you having those kind of feelings? So I think the first thing is the classic old advice is to take care of you. We can't, when you ever get on an airplane, the air stewardess always says, put on your mask first before you even put on a young child. So you've got to take care of you first, and making sure that you're getting enough sleep, you're eating healthy, you're getting exercise as much as you can with the limitations, and you're taking care of your emotional needs and staying connected as much as possible. That's going to be really helpful for you as a parent going through these challenging times. Second thing is to try and keep that regular routine like we talked about before, just to create again that sense of safety and security within you. And then I would say keep that family game night going, keep those family fun routine going. Take away all the media, take away all the social media, all the phones for a couple of nights and just get connected to your family. Forget about everything that's going on outside. Try and incorporate at least 5 minutes of fun every day. Even if you're taking your child to school, have a karaoke with their favorite song, sing as loud as you can, or just do something fun every time when you get back from school, just so you can still have fun when we're struggling with this time. And one other thing I would say, we want to try and be flexible. This is an ever-changing story. Schools makes changes every time, work environments are making changes all the time, so we want to try and be flexible. And it reminds me of an analogy of two trees. We can be the strong, mighty oak that's closed, that's rigid, but then very vulnerable in storms. We can easily be knocked down. We want to try and be the swaying palm tree, where we can bend and we can twist to the changes around us, to the storm, and we can bounce back up and show resilience. So whenever anything is changing within your home, within your community, try and twist and bend and adapt to those changes the best way that you can, and that also sends a great message to your child as well.